The following books, stories, plays, poems, or limericks you will hear on Right Time Radio are the intellectual property of the writers and authors mentioned. Any copying, recording, or reproduction of this work is strictly prohibited without the express written consent of the author. The content of this show is the individual expression of the author and does not necessarily reflect the views of the owner of this radio station.
Just Another Day by Sandra Miller Linhart.
27 May 2019. Hey you, it's me again. I'm hoping you'll smile when you read this. At least, I imagine you smiling, holding the envelope in your hands. I miss that smile, the one that lights up your eyes when something tickles or touches you. Damn, I miss you. I miss the smell of you, your chuckle, your dry sense of humor, but mostly that damned infectious smile. The memory of your smile has gotten me through quite a few rough spots, for which I'm grateful. I know I haven't written to you in a while, and for that, I'm sorry. A lot has been going on here, if that's any excuse. The sewer backed up a couple months ago. All the pipes from here to the sidewalk needed to be replaced. They told me the pipes were almost 100 years old. Nothing short of a nightmare. I finally got it worked out. Then, in April, the Colorado winds decided our roof needed replacing. So now, we have a new roof. I hope you like slate gray, because that's the color I picked. Our old Subaru finally gave out its last bit of energy. Even you have to admit, 20 years is a long time to own a car. Our new car carried a hefty price tag. But as I have no mechanical abilities, I did something which will make you cringe. I bought it new. Yes, brand spanking new. Yes, I am aware it lost half its value when I drove it off the lot. Blah, blah, blah. To be quite frank, I've no energy to play the sales game anymore. You can chastise me when you get home. Regardless, we now own a new blue Subaru Forester. I hate when men talk to me like I'm an idiot. It's annoying. But I recall what you said about telling them you'll be back, and if they don't do right by us, they'll be receiving a visit from you. It's getting more difficult saying that and sounding believable, though. I shouldn't have to hide behind a man for other men to be decent. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for never treating me like an idiot. Remember how you fell in love with this old house when we first walked into the porch? You said we'd spend a lot of time fixing it up and turning it into a home in which we'd grow old together. You weren't wrong about the fixing up part. It feels like I just managed to divert one catastrophe when another one comes down the pike. It's exhausting some days. I'm not complaining, mind you. This is me being honest. It's hard towing the line alone. But no worries. I'm holding down the fort as best I can. On a positive note, I'm making us a little backyard sanctuary of sorts for when you return. It's a nice place to read and enjoy a glass of wine. I find myself sitting out there more often these days. My mind always drifts to memories of you and that smile of yours. The fruitless cherry tree you planted when we first moved in has grown so that it provides me with wonderful shade for the afternoon sun. And my love, I have to tell you, the blossoms carry such a sweet fragrance, you can almost taste the sugar in the air. Our own slice of paradise. You're gonna love it. Oh, Sarah and Josh finally announced to everyone they're getting married. You remember me telling you about Josh, right? He and Sarah have been together about 5 years now. They met when she went on her senior trip to Six Flags, and he was there on leave. I told you a while ago I thought he was the one for her. Can I now tell you I told you so? I told you so. They were planning an October wedding. They've decided to get married by the judge now that Josh deploys in July. Honestly, I was looking forward to planning a big wedding, to occupy my mind a bit. Sarah decided she couldn't go through with a big wedding. There we were, smack dab in the middle of trying on wedding gowns. And she burst into tears. When I got her calmed down, she told me she wanted no one but you to walk her down the aisle. And she most certainly had no desire to do it alone. I told her we understood and that we'd back whatever her decision. Oh, you'd be so proud of her. She graduated last week, top honors, with a degree in early childhood development. At first, she wasn't keen on participating in the graduation ceremony. I talked to her by telling her you'd be there in spirit. Took some pretty good pictures of her, too, if I do say so myself. I'll stick them in with this letter. Your daughter has grown into such a beautiful and accomplished woman, like we'd always hoped she'd be. I see so much of you in her, and yes, she has your smile. It's so hard to believe it's been 10 years. She was only 12 when they told us you disappeared in Iraq, and no one knew where or how you were. Watching our daughter grow from that awkward preteen into a beautiful woman who took her place has been a heartache and a blessing. I've been able to witness her growth, all the while knowing how much you're missing. Knowledge that widens the chasm of emptiness in my chest. I yearn for your touch, your strong, safe arms around me, my love. I'm surrounded by your memory. The smell of coffee brewing in the morning, hearing our song on the radio, the wine glass you chipped right before you left, and that damn cherry tree. Your shirts wait in our closet for you, although they forgot your scent years ago. Framed faces seem to mock me as I pass, where I see new wrinkles appearing around my eyes and lips almost daily, while your face remains the same on our walls and in my memory. I wonder if you'll still want me. I wonder if you'll even recognize me. But mostly, I wonder where you are, and I wonder if you're okay. I keep sending these letters even though they keep getting returned, unopened. It seems silly, I know. I've spent every day of the last 10 years thinking you're going to show up on our doorstep, unannounced. The days have turned into years. I wonder why I still hold on to hope. Then I think, today could be the day they find you and bring you home. So I'll place this letter in an envelope. I'll put a forever stamp on the corner, and I'll address it the way I always do. I'll seal it with a kiss and send it out on a wavering thread of stubborn hope that maybe this time they'll find you. And this time you'll read my words, and you'll smile, and you'll be reminded we so very much love and miss you and want you back. And somehow, this time, you'll find some way to come back home to us. Godspeed, my love. You've been gone far too long. All my love, forever and always. Me.
You've been listening to Right Time Radio. This was Just Another Day by Sandra Miller Linhart. We'll be back to talk to the author and the narrator after this word from our sponsors.
Everyone has a reason to buckle up. Find yours. Sponsored by CDOT, reminding you to click it or ticket.
The character who portrayed Jesus in The Shack said religion is way too much work. I don't want slaves, I want friends. That idea is echoed in John 15:15. At Freedom and Faith, our ministry is built on those same principles. Our Heavenly Father and His Son want a personal relationship with you. We invite you to join us on our journey to truth in Scripture and personal relationship every Sunday at 10:15 at the Canyon City Rec District, 575 South Ash, 269-1575.
People often ask me how you pick a good realtor. Well, you ask other people. And the only thing you should want to hear is, my realtor made it easy. Oftentimes, people will want a babysitter. I can do that. Often people want to know who would move them. I can do that. Oftentimes, they'll call them, they're hungry. They want a pizza. I can help them do that. I can tell you where to go. So that's how personal we get. And that's the way we want it. And that's really how we do business at Coldwell Banker Fremont Realty.
Royal Gorge Radio's AM 1400 KRLN and Star Country 104.5 FM. And we, along with Fremont and Royal Gorge area businesses, proudly present our Customer Appreciation Day we call Money Day.
Hey, y'all, this is Chelsea Lynn inviting you to join me every Tuesday afternoon at 2:30 for your chance to win your share of free money.
That's right, a little cold hard cash could be yours. To win, simply be registered and present at one of these Money Day store locations.
Any Ulta convenience stores in the Fremont County and Royal Gorge areas. Classic Furniture, 510 Main Street, Canyon City. And Maggie's Candy Kitchen, 1326 Main Street, Canyon City.
So visit a Money Day store location, pick up a registration card, fill it out, and get it back to Royal Gorge Radio. Or go online at RoyalGorgeRadio.com to find out more. Then every Tuesday afternoon at 2:30, be at a Money Day store location. Listen for your name, hear your name, and call 276-0331 within 60 seconds to claim your cash. From Fremont County and Royal Gorge area businesses, AM 1400 KRLN and Star Country 104.5.
KRLN weather, sunny, warmer, and breezy today. Southwest winds 10 to 15 this afternoon. The high today around 73. Mostly clear and breezy tonight, the low near 41. Mostly sunny tomorrow and breezy, the high around 74. Our low this morning 29 after a high of 46 yesterday. We measured another 300ths of an inch of rainfall. 60 degrees currently at the Weather Center.
Radio 1400 KRLN.
Welcome back to Right Time Radio. This is our Memorial Day tribute, and what we have read to you is something that was written by a local author. Her name is Sandra Miller Linhart, and we have her here in the studio today. So let me tell you a little bit about Sandra. She was born in Lander, Wyoming on a warm summer day in a hospital. I need background music. A little breeze blowing, which has since been turned into a mental institution, which most likely holds no correlation, probably. She has 5 daughters, 7 grandkids, and currently resides in the beautiful mountains of Colorado. Miss Linhart's writing is informed by many of her observations as the military wife of over 20 years. She realized finding children's books which cast the military in a positive light was mostly an exercise in futility, despite the heroic sacrifices the men and women of the armed forces were and are making. Unable to find any books which adequately explained to her daughters why Daddy had to go away, Daddy's Boots got its spark of creation. Sandra's formal education includes C.A. Barstow College, where she studied and excelled in art and design, as well as receiving a degree in sociology, focusing on family and child psychology. Miss Linhart also attended the University of Georgia, where she received certificates in private investigation and creative writing, and Colorado Mountain College, where she earned her paralegal degree. Miss Linhart is a member of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators and the Military Writers Society of America. Her award-winning titles include Daddy's Boots, Mama's Boots, Mr. Gary Got's a Friend, Oh My, What Happened, Squat, Stackable Page, Don't Label Me, But What If, Grandpa, What If, Sophie's on the Sofa, Pickysaurus Mac, What Does a Hero Look Like, Mixed Up, and The Elementary Adventures of Jones, Jeep, Buck, and Blue. What a wonderful list of books you have written, Miss Sandra.
Why, thank you.
I'm guessing that obviously we've said in your bio that you have a history with the military, and this is what prompted you to write this wonderful story. Now, is it a standalone or is it in a book?
It's in a book called, All Gave Some.
Uh-huh.
I think.
Yep.
Which we have
We
right
got
here.
it right here.
It's
See,
the-
look at this in your Radio Land. Here's the book. No, I'm teasing everyone.
The Military Writers Society of America 2014 anthology. It's one of the many wonderful stories in there.
Mm-hmm.
I was blessed to be added to that. So
It's many authors that are in there. And that's one of the ones you included, or do you have more than one in there? Or
no, I just have that one.
That one. Well, that's a powerful one. And we wanted to have this to make our tribute to Memorial Day because that's what we do here at Right Time Radio, is local authors, local stories, and
Local talent.
local talent. Thank you, Tom. Okay, so if our listeners want to get a copy of your book, Miss Sandra, where can they get that?
Well, for that one, they can get it on Amazon. I'm not sure the link, but it is on there through MWSA.
So, and the book again is All Gave Some. It's an anthology.
Right.
But my other books are also on Amazon, and you can also look me up at sandsstarbooks.com.
Sandsstarbooks.com. I just wanted to repeat that in case you wanted to go there. Or go to Amazon and you can just search for Sandra Miller Linhart and you'll probably see a list of all of her books. They're wonderful books. She's brought them with us today, and the illustrator in that book is someone you know fairly well. Who is that?
I kind of know her a little bit. She is my daughter. Her name is Tana Fox. Tana Desmond Fox, depending on before she was married. She got her education at Savannah College of Art and Design. She's an amazing author. She's an author as well, but she's an amazing artist.
She is an amazing artist. We've sat here and looked through the books, even though they're for children. We're enjoying looking at the pictures that she drew. They're awesome. So,
and each one is different. That's what I love about her. Is each one is got its own little flair.
Unique to its story. Correct.
Exactly.
Well, I loved them. Well, thank you so much for letting us read this on Memorial Day. This was a wonderful tribute, don't you think, Tom?
Oh, excellent. And the interesting thing is there's 5 of us here in the studio. 4 out of the 5 are pretty intimately connected with the military.
That's right.
Our producer here today is standing in for Miss Carrie Jacobs is Greg Royce, and he is also military. You want to say hi in there? Or we usually...
Yeah, I'd just like to chime in with this Memorial Day tribute and say thank you not only to those who have done pay the ultimate price, you know, in serving, but those currently, those retired, and for first responders too. You know, don't forget about them. They're all here to help us, and as a matter of fact, we reflect upon our relatives about this time too. You know, it's it's a good tribute to. It gets a little teary-eyed, but it's a good tribute. So thank you.
There were a few tears in the studio today as we were reading that, because MIA is still a thing, and they're still out there somewhere.
That's right. Well, Tom, what's your connection to the military?
I was in the Air Force for 6.5 years as a backseater in F-4s. So
you were a backseat driver? Is that what you?
I was. They have controls in the back. They just didn't give me the afterburners, which I always regretted.
And your wife is still connected with the
My
military.
wife works up at the Air Force Academy, and she still works up there a couple days a week, launching satellites, building satellites, running satellites. She's a rocket scientist.
Now, Sandra, you weren't in the military per se. You were the wife.
I was a military wife, right?
Which is huge.
Well, you know, we hold down the fort.
Right. And which branch?
We were Army.
You were Army. Good job. Good job. Well, go ahead.
I've you know, as I was reading this, how much of this did you experience firsthand? I mean,
Well, my husband was an MIA, but when they're deployed for a long period of time, that loneliness is there. Having to make all the decisions and making sure that it's the right decision and worrying about it the whole time. So that's all firsthand, but the rest was just fiction.
Did you ever go to any military dining ins or outs?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, and you know how they do I assume they do this in the Army. They did it in the Air Force all the time. We set a table for
the missing. Yeah, they do that still. As far as I know, I haven't been in since 2005, so it's been a while.
No,
but
they
I'm
still
assuming
do it. I went to one with my wife just a year ago.
It's
and
hard.
They still do it.
Yeah,
it's sad.
That's rough. Well, my dad, I have two dads actually. You have to figure that one out. That doesn't mean they were an odd couple. It means I have a biological dad and then I have an adopted dad. So I have two dads, and they both were in the Navy initially, and then my dad went into the Army and he retired with a medical discharge. So I have some history with the military too. My husband was ex-Navy, and he was in a submarine. So we've got pictures on the wall of the sub he was in. So we have lots of fun stories. We haven't introduced you to our narrator, but I just want to slide over to our narrator. If you didn't recognize her voice, it is Haley Atkinson. And tell us your connection to the military.
Oh, I have a little bit. I was in the Army Reserves for 10 years, back when I was much younger. Spent some time as a military police officer. I was in psychological operations. I did a couple of different things in the Army. I
could see you doing that.
It was an awesome experience. I got to go on a deployment to Egypt when Desert Storm was starting, so we were doing some activities over there. I got to go to Panama, so I did see a little bit of the world when I was in the Army.
Cool.
And I got out when I had my son, and probably 15 years later, I was missing it, and I decided, I want to see if I can get back in. And they apparently changed the rules that if you can get your 20 years in before you turn 60, you can re-enlist regardless of how old you are. So when I was in my 40s, probably, I went back into the Air Force Reserves, and I spent a couple years there as a munitions specialist, making bombs. But I also have my father and my grandfather were both in the service, too. So there's a little family history.
Very cool. Well, Tom, I think Haley has got a bunch of stuff going on in her life, and she does need to leave because of all of those things she's got going on. But before she goes, I want her to talk about one thing she's doing tonight, I believe.
Yes.
What is it?
It's opening night at the Rialto for Death Trap.
Very cool. Now, what is Death Trap?
Death Trap is the story of Sidney Bruhl, who was a successful playwright but hit a dry spell for about 10 years. He started doing some seminars, and a very young, up-and-coming playwright attended one, sent him his first play that he wrote, and Sidney immediately felt like it would be a huge success. So Sidney will do anything to have another huge success. So this is the story of an unusual concatenation of events that unfold with lots of twists and turns.
Wow.
So it should be a really good show.
And what part do you play in this one?
I play Sidney Bruhl's attorney.
Oh.
Yes.
You would make a great attorney. I'm sure you do. Now, Haley has been in so many different plays. What have you been in the past?
Well, actually, I started doing this acting thing with Exit Laughing, which was up here shortly after we moved here. So only about a year and a half ago is when I made my official acting debut.
Yeah.
And that
Critical
was
acclaim.
And you did an awesome job in that.
Well, it was...
Everyone fell in love with you.
It was so much fun. I played Millie, who was sort of this ditzy Betty White type character.
Which is very much an acting job, because she's not any ditzy.
She's not like that.
So that one was...
When you meet him in real life, though, you think, oh, is she really like that?
Thankfully, no.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun. I mean, it just was a great experience. I had a great time with the other characters. There were only 4 other characters in that one too, so it was a very small cast, and we had a lot of fun. And of course, I was in Valedictorian and the Sorcerer that Mr. Bruno here put on.
Yes.
Had a very small cameo appearance, and then Kathy Heron's Christmas play. It was the night before Christmas Eve, or opening night before Christmas Eve, I think is what it was called.
Yeah.
Which was in December.
Well, and I want you to know, Haley was very behind the scenes, but very valuable to me in Haunted Java. She was just a real good asset for me, even though she wasn't in the play. She helped me iron out a bunch of things.
Helped with your program,
Yeah,
that was fun.
So let's encourage you guys to go out and see Death Trap over at the Rialto in Florence, that great 1924 theater that we have in Florence, Colorado. Tickets, I believe, are $12, and there's some discounts if you're
senior discount. I think is 10. Students and seniors are 10. Regular admission is 12. Showtimes are Friday, Saturday night at 7, Sunday at 3, this weekend and next weekend. And if you haven't been to the Rialto Theater in a while, you need to come because they have really done a lot of renovations, and it looks great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think I've missed any of the plays. Who's directing this one?
R.C. Wilkins is directing this one. He always puts on. He did Savannah Sipping Society and. He is a stickler for details, so you're going to see a fantastic show by R.C. Wilkins. And who else is in the play with you? I know we've got to cut for a commercial here soon, but let's. It's such a great. I'm putting you on the spot. Well, I know everybody's first name. I don't.
Well, come and see it, and it's in the program.
There are some of the folks. Make it a surprise. Some of the folks are pretty well-known folks. Local actors, yeah. So.
All right, cool. Fantastic. Let's cut for a commercial. Thank you so much for reading today,
you're
Haley.
Welcome. Thank you for
inviting
inviting me.
And we're
going
to give some information about Memorial Day and.
I do want to just give a shout out. I know that we got some thanks for all the military, but I really want to shout out to the families and the spouses of the military because they are such a great behind the scenes support for our military folks.
Absolutely.
They do so much. Keep holding down the fort and the families and things. So thank you.
All right, let's cut. We'll be right back.
Who is the Holy Spirit and what does he do? The Holy Spirit's #1 mission is to make Jesus known. How he does that will vary from time to time, from place to place, and from one Christian to another. Dr. Michael Ziegler talks about the variety and the unity of the Holy Spirit's work this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour is brought to you each week by St. John's Lutheran Church. Listen Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. on 1400 KRLN. If you're going out to eat but you're not sure where you want to go, try Mr. Ed's Family Restaurant right here in Canyon City. When you get there, you'll get fast service, a large amount of choices for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and a very friendly staff that'll take care of you. If you haven't tried their giant cinnamon rolls in the morning, you've got to try them. If it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you'll always find something delicious at Mr. Ed's Family Restaurant, Canyon City.
Artist Gallery, the month of May features artists Mary Daly and her still life mixed media, Sue Davis's eclectic jewelry, and Katie Rosenquist's out of the ordinary colorful creations in watercolor and alcohol inks. The artists are ever eager to engage in discussion of their extraordinary work. All the artists take turns in running this one-of-a-kind gallery. There's something for everyone. Open 7 days a week, 10 to 6 at 416 Main in Canyon City. And ask about their layaway and custom art, too. At Rose Veterinary Hospital, the health and well-being of your pets are their #1 concern. They encourage annual wellness exams and high-quality diet to prevent problems before they start. Dr. Rose and her team of experienced doctors, technicians, and staff have built a reputation rooted in preventative medicine and compassionate veterinary care. Go to Rose Veterinary Hospital on High Street in Canyon City, and you'll find competent animal lovers determined to keep your pets happy and healthy. Call 275-1909 to make an appointment today. May. What are you going to do while you're here in Fremont County? There's so much to choose from. Check out the dinosaur footprints on Skyline Drive or let the dinos chase you at the Dinosaur Experience. Then walk across the Royal Bridge for a real look at evolution. Go to a rodeo in the real Wild West. We also have world-class rock climbing and the perfect four-season climate. So much to do, so little time. This message brought to you by Whitewater Bar and Grill on 8 Mile Hill.
KRLN weather, sunny, warmer, and breezy today. The high around 73. Mostly clear and breezy tonight, the low near 41. Mostly sunny and breezy again tomorrow with a high around 74. Yesterday's high 46, our low this morning 29, and we had another 0.03 of an inch of rainfall. Currently 63 degrees at the Weather Center.
Talk Radio 1400 KRLN.
Welcome back to Right Time Radio. We are doing a memorial tribute today with author Sandra Linhart, and of course Tom is here with me in the studio, and I'm Lynn Donovan. We'd also like to thank Fremont Regional Hospice for sponsoring this show. We thank you guys so much for letting us be on the air by sponsoring it. Tom, we were going to talk a little more to Sandra. Did you have some more questions, or what were we going to do at this point?
Well, we were going to talk. The only question I had is, when are you coming back, Sandra?
I'll be back to see you on June 21st.
And
that's great.
And we're going to do a piece called "Burdens We Carry."
Right.
And
that's going to be good.
Looking forward to that. We really enjoyed Sandra. She's got a really acerbic wit to her. And
that's a secret.
And it certainly did not come through in this piece at all. Was a very serious, touching piece. The one we just read another day.
We enjoyed that.
Thank you.
All right, so we're excited to have her back. Right now, we're going to go into some things. Where in the world did Memorial Day come from? And so we're going to wrap up the show with that. The original name of this holiday that you guys all get the day off, except for me at Papa's, I got to serve you guys food. It was called Decoration Day. And you know what they were decorating?
What were they decorating? The graves, I'll bet.
Yes, that is correct.
Of the Civil War veterans, I think.
Yes, and that was news to me as we researched a little bit. I didn't realize that it started with the Civil War.
No, I didn't either.
I thought it was World War I, and it wasn't even officially. Let's go through some of these facts and some of those things.
Well, Memorial Day is set aside to honor those who died in our nation's service, and it originally started to commemorate the deceased of the Civil War.
Okay, and President Johnson in 1966, he declared that Waterloo, New York was the official birthplace of Memorial Day, but as we understand, there is about a dozen different cities that claim that same thing.
2 dozen.
President Johnson probably had some relative there.
In New York, yeah.
Yeah.
Southern women are said to have started the tradition of decorating the graves for the Confederate and soldiers with flags and flowers.
All right. And then it was officially proclaimed a holiday on May 5th, 1868, just 3 days afterwards, by a general. And it wasn't a president, and it's not written down here, but I think it was General John A. Logan.
Wow, he pulled that out of his brain, so he actually knew that.
No, I looked it up.
You looked
later.
It up. Good earlier. Old Google the Oracle.
Yeah.
Let's see. Memorial Day was first observed on May 30th. So I guess they came up with the idea and proclaimed it on May 5th, and then they
did it on May 30th that same month.
May 30th, 1868. Yes. Memorial Day is celebrated on the last Monday in May, and the first state to recognize the day was New York.
All right. And then the official Memorial Day was a large ceremony held in Arlington National Cemetery, and flowers were placed on the headstones, as we were saying. That's what Decoration Day was all about. But most southern states refused to recognize that day until, at least officially, until after World War I. And then after World War I, the day was adjusted to celebrate the deceased in all wars, not just the Civil War.
And I think that's appropriate. The nation's Holiday Act was signed by Congress in 1971, ensuring the 3-day weekend for a federal holiday. Texas, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, South Carolina, Louisiana, and Tennessee all have separate days to honor the South's Civil War heroes.
If you want to participate in this tradition, there is an unofficial flower of Memorial Day, and that's by using red poppies, putting red poppies on the graves of the fallen war heroes. So you can use that. And then the VFW was the first veterans organization to sell those poppies nationally. The Buddy Poppy Program sells imitations poppies, and you probably have seen those if you drive by any kind of veteran, national cemetery.
Right.
You'll see those that they last a long time because they're not real.
Memorial Day parades were once a standard of the day. In 2000, the National Moment of Remembrance was initiated. The National Moment of Remembrance asks that all Americans at 3 p.m. pause for an action to somehow honor the deceased of our many wars.
And then in 1951, our Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts of St. Louis began another tradition. And that was by placing 150,000 flags at Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery. That tradition is still going on in St. Louis.
That's a lot of flags.
Yes.
In 2004, Washington, D.C. held its first Memorial Day parade in over 60 years.
And, that is Memorial Day we always think of. Actually, growing up, I had no idea what Memorial Day was.
Yeah.
But we knew it was a day off, and we got to spend time with our families and do barbecues and things like that. And it's the unofficial kickoff of summer activities.
Yeah. On Memorial Day, the flag should be flown at half staff until noon. Did you know that, Tom?
I did not until I read this.
And then
I should have.
Then you're supposed to go out and put it back up at full staff for the rest of the day. Now, my dad told me, because, my dad would never lie. He might embellish, but he never lies, that the way you do that is you actually run the flag all the way to the top, and then you bring it down to half mast.
That is right, yeah.
And then you run it back up at noon for Memorial Day.
And, Elsa, the other half of my military family, she's very religious about getting that flag up on Memorial Day.
That's good.
So let's see. And then another thing that happens on Memorial Day is thousands of motorcycles descend on Washington, D.C., and they do a parade in appreciation of the fallen soldiers, the MIAs, and the POWs. And that tradition started in 1988. With 2,500 motorcyclists.
That's a lot of motorcycles.
Yeah, you're a motorcyclist. You ever done that?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Not
but
that one.
I was accidentally at Red River one time, and there was the band of motorcyclists that had come there for a memorial tribute, and so it was really interesting to be walking among them as we were doing our tourist thing. So,
well, and you look at the big picture of Memorial Day. Freedom isn't free. It's not just a cliche. It is paid for with the lives of our soldiers, which are our and the soldiers are our wives and husbands and kids,
sons and daughters. Yes.
Yeah, our ancestors. So that, but we have a great country because of it.
Yes.
And we have protected these borders. And guaranteed the freedoms because of being willing to stand for what is right. And you noted, as I've read, we're all writers here.
Yeah.
All three of us are writers. And as we research things, if you ever look back and see what the Romans and the Greeks and the I'm trying to think of that. The Persian Empire, all were conquerors. So many, and we had to stand up against Hitler in the 1930s and 40s. United States is not a nation of conquerors. When we go out there and stand up for the rights of others, we get them back on their feet and we pull out.
Right.
And, we have been criticized for that, but we would be criticized more probably if we stayed.
Correct.
So it's a strange, delicate line we walk. But it is the blood of our friends and families that guarantees that kind of freedom.
Yes, and we really want to tell everyone that if you're in the military or associated with the military in any way, we really appreciate you, and we keep you in our prayers.
Yes, we do. All right. So this has been an unusual but episode of Right Time Radio, starting out with Just Another Day by Sandra Miller Linhart.
There you go.
And
I missed the Miller earlier.
Sandra
Sorry,
Miller
guys.
Linhart. And so if you want to check out some of her books at Kaleidoscope Books.
Right
here in Canyon City, right?
Kaleidoscope Inspirations has...
you can see them right there live and in person.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on Amazon. We'll welcome you back on June 21st with another story, Burdens We Carry. And we'll see you next week, every week, at 10 o'clock on Friday mornings, live here at KRLN 1400.